Dance. 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 You can see that look in my eye. Ain't gonna stop anytime soon. Run up while I cry.
Here we go again. I mean, this is the truth show, and there's more. Oh, I'm not, and there's more. Oh, I'm not done yet. I mean, this is the truth show. Please note that this is all alleged. I've never met any of these people. I've deeply researched all of my information. This is a trigger warning. In this video, I may be talking about or showing sensitive material about some subjects or topics that may be disturbing or upsetting or may bring forth some troubling memories, as you read in the description or title. With that said, either end the video now or brace yourself. Aside from that, enjoy. Hello, everyone. Hi, Andra. You always being the first person, as usual. Thank you for being such a loyal follower. Okay. Oh, and is it Teleking? Hi, how are you doing? Not sure if you're still here, but thanks for joining. Hope you guys are ready for a very informative live show. I do have a lot to talk about at this moment, and it's going to be very insightful. It's going to be very educational. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comment section, because it's definitely going to be very, very deep. We're going to go deep in Pam Bondi. We're going to go deep in a lot of things, but primarily Pam Bondi is going to be the primarily focus. I am going to talk about current events. I'm not going to be talking about celeb gossip. I'm trying to venture off into that celeb gossip, just mainly stick, with my favorites, which is news, politics, history, myths, and then parlay into some true crime. But remember, I'm not getting paid for things on this channel, so people probably wondering, why am I still posting? I'm posting because I need to have some exit from my creativeness, and this is my only portal for the outside world at the current moment. So I'm doing this at the kindness of my heart because it's practically for free. Anyway, so here we go. Just want to say hello, my truth seekers. In this live show, I will be talking about how Trump is losing the war, and he's too chicken shit to admit that he is. Iran is offering a solution despite the damage he caused them. I'm not sure what the solution is. They haven't really gave us really details about the solution, but I hear there are solutions, okay? Anyway, meanwhile, it seems that Russia is creeping. Pam Bondi is she still lying under oath? You said it's buffering. Well, I'm sorry. Please hang in there. Please hang in there. Pam Bondi is still lying under oath. Nothing there. Could she be impeached? I don't know. We'll definitely talk about if she could be impeached and how would she be impeached. And if she can't be impeached, what are some alternatives to make sure she definitely pay for what she has done. Okay. And all the legal things that she has done. Okay. And we definitely go deeper dive in on her interrogation tactics. You know what I'm saying? Because she definitely has some interrogation tactics that she seemed to use. And I see that some of our parties are always falling for it. And we need to really discuss that. Okay. Just a moment. All right, so with that said, let's get started here. All right, our first up here is the Iran War. Okay, Iran War. Now, I'm going to be saying Iran and Iran. Bear with me here. I'm going to be saying both. So don't be, like, okay, make up your mind, Keisha. I'm going to be saying both. I'm going to be saying Iran. It's literally going to be going back and forth. So just stay with me during that whole little process, okay? All right, just give me a moment here. I need to close some windows here. Let's see, we can turn that off. This can close. Let's see, this window can close. All right, here we go. Just want to make sure I have all my windows closed. All right, so let's talk about the major crisis unfolding in the Middle East and what it means for us, especially when it comes to energy prices. There seemed to be a dramatic escalation in the Iran war. It has set key gas sites in the world. Please hit that like button, you guys. Hit that like button, okay? It has set key gas sites in the world's energy markets ablaze, literally. Now, here's what happened. It seems like Israel launched. Now, this is important because this is definitely our future. So don't start like, okay, I'm not trying to hear this. And I always give you more information than anybody else. The other channels, no matter how big they always seem to just jump on to popular topics and then just freestyle it with the rest. I'm not going to freestyle it. I'm going to actually educate you guys and give you some real talk about what the hell is really going on, okay? Okay? It's not all about money and showmanship for me. It's about educating you. That's my primary source, is to make sure you guys are educated and intuitive of what's going on here, okay? Now, here's what happened. Israel launched a major attack on Iran's South Pars gas field, which is the largest in the world. In response, Iran hit important energy sites across the Gulf. Arab states. Now, these facilities, along with the crucial stretch of the Hormuz, which is spelled Hormuz, so it's Hormuz, a major pathway for shipping oil and gas, are vital to the world supply. Now, as a result, prices for energy and everyday goods shot up almost instantly because of that, because they're hitting these really primary states. See, Iran, they have a really strategic strategy. Trump is like, just blow everything up. I don't fucking care who you hit, just hit something. God damn it. That's what Trump is doing. But Iran has a strategy, okay? And they're manipulating a lot of things. Okay, more than likely because they probably, studied. There has some education behind their tactics, and they're just not some spoiled brat man who used to get any everything he wants, like Trump is. Okay, let's be realistic here, ladies and gentlemen. He used to get any everything he wants. Okay, so again, as a result, prices for energy and everyday goods shot up almost instantly. Okay, economists are warning that this could lead to a global economic shock, with rising prices and potential shortages affect billions of people, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, not just us in the US, but UK and other continents and countries who are affected by this unneeded goddamn war. Okay, that Trump ignited because he's a puppet to those who are warmongers, who more than likely is working for Russia. But that's a whole nother live show. We're not getting into that deep rabbit hole, not in this live show. So the fallout is creating a diplomatic chaos. Qatar, or Qatar, I've heard it pronounced several ways. I heard it pronounced Qatar, Qatar, Qatar. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to say it whatever way it comes out of my mouth, okay? So Qatar, a U.S. ally in the Gulf, is furious, not just at Iran, but also at the United States and Israel. A senior Qatari official even said they're angry that a war meant to protect oil and gas is now destroying their own vital infrastructure, which means this war in Iran that Trump had ignited is affecting a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? The UK, Russia, China. I mean, it's fucking up some bullshit. I don't mean to be cursing and everything, but gas prices are freaking ridiculous. This is causing a domino effect in the world. A lot of leaders are pissed off at Trump and this warmonger that's been in his goddamn ear. Whether it's Yahoo or Bolton, who the hell freaking knows? Everyone does know Yahoo, but he's not the only person that's been in Trump's ear. Anyway, so world leaders are definitely alarmed and pissed. French President Emmanuel Macron called the escalation freaking reckless. And along with leaders from the UK, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, and Japan, all of them are pissed at Trump, our fucking president. This is where it come to, okay? And they're demanding an immediate halt to attacks on energy sites. Like, can you please stop? But Trump started it. He should have just stayed out of the Israel war and just let them fight each other. Everyone else was. Biden didn't get into it. He stayed out of it. They also promised to help ensure safe passages for ships in the region. Now, Iran is saying, okay, if you're not with the U.S., we'll go ahead and let you go. We'll let you ride. We work out a deal with you, but if you're with the U.S., fuck you and the horse you ran in on. This is currently where we're at the moment. U.S. was once the hub and the center of every freaking nation. Now we're the laughing stock. Don't play with them. They're full of shit. They can't even control the democracy. They've elected a freaking criminal and some psychopath. I mean, they're not even trying to impeach him. What the hell is going on here? They let a billionaire Elon Musk rig the election. So this is literally where and they're not even doing anything about it, even though they can. So the impact on energy prices has been immediate and sharp. Brent crude oil went as high as our oil now is 119 a barrel. And natural gas prices in Europe jumped 25%. U.S. oil prices climb above 100 a barrel. Oh, yes, it's getting crazy. A 45% increase, not a 10%, not a 5%, not a 7%, a 45% increase since the war started in late February, and it's going up. That can cause an economic collapse. It can literally screw us up financially in so many different ways. And we're spending billions and billions and billions on this stupid, non-existent, we don't even need fucking war. He don't even know how to get out of it. He literally don't know how to get out of it. He's really fucked because he thought it was just going to be like a couple weeks. They're going to beg for mercy and everything's great. But that's not happening. It's not happening. He's panicking. He's like, I don't know how to get out of this shit. He really don't know how to get out. He don't want to say, okay, I give up, because that make him look weak. So now we're dealing with egos and pride and shit. So the U.S. government, moving on here, under President Trump, has tried to ease the pain by relaxing some sanctions on oil. Now, there's the thing that's pissing me off about Trump. Screw that, we're screwed over here, but let me just help Putin. I got to help my boy. I mean, we go way back since Epstein. You know what I'm saying? He gave me my wife. This is how he thinks. So, So this is what Trump is doing while everyone else is suffering in the world. He's making sure he's looking out for his boy. And I'm not even lying. Seriously. He's looking out for his boy. Oh, yeah. So the U.S. government under Trump has tried to ease the pain by relaxing some of sanctions on Russian oil. Who do you think these warmongers work for, Trump? Who do you think they're getting rules for? Who do you think has been trying to take over America for years, but they was looking for the right person to do it? Now he's creeping through the back door. You literally handing him America on a silver platter. I mean, our military sanctions is pretty much the planet. We are vulnerable for probably anything right at the moment because they know he got an idiot trying to run everything. So, yeah, we have idiot versus a man who spent his entire lifetime on war. I wonder who would win this little battle here. Yeah, if we don't get rid of Trump, we are fucking screwed. I'm jumping ahead of myself. No more ad lib. Let me just stick to my strip. Okay. All right, getting back to what I was saying. So he relaxed, and he pretty much relaxed some sanctions on Russian oil. I mean, yeah, let's hook them up. And considering doing the same for Iranian soil, because that's important apparently, at sea, hoping these measures would temporarily boost supply and keep pricing from skyrocketing even more. We'll see about that. But experts warn that even if the fighting stops now, the damage to our energy infrastructure is already done. Some facilities can take months or even years to fully freaking repair, not to mention our allies' relationships now. Meaning prices might remain high for a long goddamn time because he screwed up their environment over there. They have to rebuild. And in short, this escalation is not just a regional conflict. It's a global problem hitting everyone at the gas pump and their energy bills and throughout the freaking entire economy. Now, the world is watching, hoping for a de-escalation, other things as well, but bracing for more turbulence ahead. Yep, Trump screwed up everything and everyone. It would take years for this repair. One man and his team of greedy billionaires, pedos, and rapists managed to screw up an entire political economic infrastructure in one goddamn year. Now, thanks to Elon Musk and his insecurities and tech team, this could probably all go away somewhat. We can get some smart people in there. But Elon Musk has to admit what he's done. It's not too late. We still have months before the ballots. You know, I'm going to go ahead. But the point is, it's not too. I know you guys are saying it's been a year. They hold on to the ballots for 22 months, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And you know Elon Musk got proof that he rigged the election. But he, again, thinking about his pocketbook, but I'm sure he can work out some goddamn deal. If he can say, look, I have proof that Kamala won by a landslide and my people rigged the election, but in order for me to hand you this proof, I'm going to need so-and-so, so-and-so. Yes, we have to go back to the drawing board. Kamala Harris more than likely will be elected. Trump and his little people will be arrested. There will be a thorough investigation. And then they have to come up with some law to make sure this voting, confliction, and tampering will never happen again. This is how the amendment started. The Constitution started. Someone went to the drawing board and came up with these strategies to pretty much compile some order out of chaos. We are now at a new age right now, okay? Yes, the Constitution is still working, but we need to update the Constitution because we are in new times now. We are in a time of technology. We are in a time of AI and jet boards and flying boards. They are coming out with some crazy shit now. We're in a new age, so therefore we're going to have to come up with new rules to align with this new age, which means people can rig elections now, okay? They can turn off countries' power grids. So therefore, the rules needs to be updated. Laws needs to be updated to coincide with the times. So they need to go back to the drawing board and they need to figure out how can this be done. We know Elon Musk rigged the election. What I would do, I would definitely, if this happened, Trump and his entire party would be arrested. They would go to jail forever. Trump would no longer be some private citizen. He would be a citizen, and therefore he'd be treated like a general citizen and a criminal. Whatever deal they make with Elon Musk, I don't know what it is. That's up to them. And then we have to hold another inaugural ball. And you don't even need an election. If he come to prove that, Kamala Harris won in general, it won't have to be another election. There will be a formal announcement, of course. And then they have to go to the drawing board to come up with rules to make sure our voting process is safe and this will never happen again because we are in the age of technology now. So that's what I would do in this situation. But we are dealing with people who act like they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Okay, if you want to turn this around, that's what's going to happen. Impeachment is going to take too goddamn long. Okay, we need to get him and his entire party out of the White House, point blank, simple. It's 22 months from the time of election, so I think we got until September or July or something like that, and that's when the 22 months over. We still can do this. We can still do this. It's far-fetched and has never been done in history, but that's when the Constitution came to party. Shit was happening that wasn't, happening in that current time. They had to come up with something. Isn't that when the 10 Commandments, they was, doing crazy shit at the time? He had to come up with the 10 Commandments. They had to come up with something. Now we have to go back to the drawing board and come up with something to coincide with this time right now. We are in a new age. We're in the age of Aquarius now. We're going to have to come up with some other shit, okay, to make sure our election process and our voting process is not going to continuously happen like this and tech geeks can just rig the fucking election. They already did it with the freaking Senate seat. They rigged the election for that guy. Jasmine Crockett won that damn election, man. So anyway, sorry for going off a deep end. I don't want to waste so much time because we do have a long show here. Well, a lot to cover, but I just want to say that, okay? Now, and by the way, JD Vance says that Trump is smart and he knows what he's doing with this war. Not sure where he's getting this vote of confidence from in terms of Trump. Trump has no political history of going into combat. Hell, I don't even think Trump is even a veteran. I don't even think he even went into the service. But, you know, he still have full-fledged trust in Trump. So if Trump do get impeached, we're still going to be stuck with him. And that's kind of worse because he's not an idiot. So he's completely conscious and completely coherent what he's doing. So he's doing is going to be what he's doing, not someone who's cognitive, you know, dyslexia or retarded or whatever the case may be. No, this is someone's fully conscious and probably full unadulterated fucking evil or just ignorant. And that's even worse, to have a intelligent idiot or intelligent dangerous person. Or unless he's just saying that because he don't want to get on Trump's bad side. Who the hell knows JD Vance? We never know where his mind is. I mean, one minute he's on X or Twitter at the time, insulting Trump and his policies. Next minute he's kissing his feet. So we don't know what JD Vance is. We don't know where he is. He could just be kissing his ass just to play the game. I don't really know. We just got to hope that he's just playing the game and he's not really like this. You know what I'm saying? Here are some clips.
This war with Iran.
Oops, sorry.
What is it you call
Just a moment. Let me show you this clip just a moment.
this war with Iran? What is it you call it again?
But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world. This was just an excursion into something that had to be done. Iran, and I said, I hate to make this excursion, but we're going to have to do it.
Oh, right. An excursion. So this excursion has so far conservatively cost U.S. taxpayers conservatively about $1 billion a day. That's billion with a B. Multiply that by 3 weeks, carry the one. That's about $19 billion in just operating costs. The Pentagon told Congress in just the first 6 days, they spent more than $11 billion on this excursion in Iran. Now, the math is really fuzzy here about what it's actually costing because no official numbers have been released. More on why that's important in a second. So the reason why I'm talking today about how much this war with Iran, excursion with Iran is costing us is because today we learned the president will ask Congress for a whopping $200 billion more to continue it. That's on top of the $1 trillion budget that the Pentagon is already sitting on.
The war is almost over. Why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world. So we're in very good shape, but we want to be in the best shape we've ever been in. It's a small price to pay to make sure that we stay tippy top.
As far as $200 billion, I think that number could move. Obviously, it takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future.
Okay, so the question is, will Congress hand over that $200 billion or not? The Constitution is clear on this one. Congress will have to decide, not the Trump administration. And that decision has consequences on both sides. If Congress says yes and hands over those hundreds of billions of dollars, where is that money coming from? Likely it's going to have to be borrowed, which will then jack up our debt and deficit, not to mention the political fallout that could come for lawmakers in the midterms for supporting this war. And if they say no, then the president and Secretary Hegseth may be out of luck. And that may leave our service members in the region in harm's way. So what we do know for sure is lots of lawmakers, both Republicans and Democrats, say they are not handing over a single dollar to the Trump administration until they get their questions answered. And they have a lot of them. They want to know, what are the goals of this mission? What kind of planning went into it? What's the long-term fallout going to be? And importantly, what's the plan to try and blunt these spiking energy prices? President Trump and the vice president keep trying to downplay the long-term effects.
I wanted to put out that fire. And I said, if I do that, oil prices will go up, the economy will go down a little bit. I thought it would be worse, much worse, actually. I thought there was a chance it could be much worse. It's not bad, and it's going to be over with pretty soon.
Yeah, the president said this, and I certainly agree with it. This is a temporary blip.
The fact is, no one knows what the future holds. Not Trump, not Vance. It's actually Trump's opinion that things will return to normal quickly once he declares this war is over. As I reported in this video yesterday, the chairman of the Federal Reserve said that depending on how long this war lasts, the price shocks to the U.S. economy and to you and me could only be temporary or not. And that's the point. It's just too hard for anyone to tell right now because no one knows how this is going to shake out. But here's what we do know for sure. President Trump campaigned on no new wars, especially no new endless wars. His mission goals in Iran have shifted multiple times since these strikes started. He has so far refused to give a timeline for when this war with Iran is going to end. And based on what we are seeing today in the region, with the Strait of Hormuz still being choked off and strikes escalating on energy facilities throughout the Middle East, this thing looks like it could drag on for a very long time, regardless of whether Trump says it's over or not. So Congress is going to have a big decision on its hands now, and it's unclear when they may take up this request from the Trump administration for $200 billion or more in supplemental funding.
Yesterday, Israel escalated this war with Iran when they bombed the world's largest gas field, a place called South Pars. This is a gas field that's shared with Qatar, and they bombed the hell out of it. And this is going to affect maybe up to 20% of Iran's gas processing. What it did was it caused oil to spike at about $115 to $120 a barrel. That means all of us are going to pay more money at the gas pumps. Donald Trump kept talking about, well, we're doing this and this, but we're not hitting the infrastructure, the pipes, as he calls them. And then, of course, Israel does just that. And when asked about it, Donald Trump said, I didn't know anything about it. I told them not to do it, but they did it anyways. Well, that's possible. But then Israel comes out and says, no, they knew. They knew. Donald Trump has no clue what's going on. And when you hit infrastructure like that, it's going to take all that much longer for it to be repaired, if it can be repaired. And that means we are paying for gas prices and energy prices for a long time to come. Because when that happened to Iran, then they started hitting other fields in other countries in the Middle East. If we start bombing all of these gas fields and oil fields and the infrastructure, we could put this fucking world back into the Stone Age where we don't have as much oil as we need or that we're used to. And this is all because Donald Trump starts this thing with Israel, and Israel can't help themselves but escalate and escalate and escalate. This is what they do. The bottom line is Donald Trump comes out and says, oh, everything's going good. All these high oil prices, just a blip. It'll go back down. It ain't going back down for a long time. It's going to take a long time to recover from what these fucks have been doing. I wonder what Donald Trump's going to say next month when the oil prices don't come down, or the month after, or the month after. Donald Trump will tell you a lot of things. He either doesn't know or he's lying, or a combination. But what's going on in the Middle East is not good for the rest of the world, and certainly not good for Americans.
We've got some breaking Iran news. Trump is thinking of sending thousands of more troops to Iran and possibly contemplating a ground invasion, which would be incredibly deadly. Keep in mind, Trump has already sent thousands of Marines this week, already planning for a possible ground invasion, and now more are coming. Why? Because we are not prepared for this war. Things are changing that we did not expect, and we did not send enough troops. Now, the ground invasion thing, particularly dangerous, according to military experts I talked to, they say we could be talking between 7 to 15% of our troops killed, the ones who go there. Why? Because it is so dangerous once you invade Iran by ground, because the Iranians are in the rest of the country and they will bomb us and kill us. Well, what happens then? Then you've got to invade further to stop the Iranians from bombing you, right? You take them out. Well, now the Iranians even further go after you. It just keeps going and going and going. There is no way to securely take part of Iran without taking all of Iran. That's why this possibility of a ground invasion to save the Strait of Hormuz, but also possibly Karg Island, which we attacked the other day, is so damn dangerous, guys. Please do follow me, share for more, and keep following. This is getting incredibly dangerous, what's going on.
Okay, and now I want you guys to take a listen to this. Now, this is Jasmine Crockett talking about the billions of dollars that Trump is spending of our tax money. Yes, and he's asking for another 200 billion, like money grown fucking trees. Elon, you can stop this. Iran wants to work out something, but they just don't like Trump. Please come forward. Y'all need to fill his comment section. Seriously. But listen to this. No, look at this. Not listen to this. It's not a podcast. Listen and look. Thank you. Hello.
I'm going to start with Tupac. We're going to start with the fact that Tupac famously said, for those of you that didn't necessarily listen to rap, that we've got money for war, but we can't feed the poor. And the reason that I bring this up is for two reasons. Number one, in order to get Maduro, the estimated cost is $3 billion. I can guarantee you that a lot of Americans would say, yes, there's a valid warrant and things like that, but for the cost of $3 billion, let's put our money somewhere else. Number one. Number two, Professor, you talked about the fact that if there wasn't the loss of life as it relates to our service members, or if this was just kind of quick boots on the ground for a second, then it wasn't war. So just answer this question for me. Would you consider what is taking place currently in the Middle East a war, because we continue to have our sons and daughters returned in caskets to the United States? That's a yes or no?
No, the analysis for Iran is different.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you agree with me then? Yes?
I didn't say that.
Okay, it's different analysis. So I'm just going to go with you agree with me, because this is clearly a war and it's unconstitutional. That is the bottom line. And frankly, as it relates to Venezuela, I think that we still will have some time to determine exactly how bad it is. Because imagine for 2 seconds that you had fishermen and sailors that were coming from the United States, and Venezuela all of a sudden started bombing our people, saying, oh, no, you're bringing guns. Because let me be clear, America does their fair share of nonsense in other countries. We tend to supply everybody with the guns. We flood this world with guns everywhere, right? So let's say they said, you know what, we don't want all those guns going to the gangsters in our communities. So we're just going to start blowing people up. And frankly, legally, that may work for them. You know why? We have a constitution and not everybody does. And so it is offensive to sit here and engage in this conversation as someone who practiced criminal law. And my God, everyone that I had, no matter what they were accused of, even if they were accused of capital murder, they were given an opportunity to actually show up in court and face their accusations, not be killed. So the justification, like, I don't understand why we are trying to make it partisan. It should not be partisan to just go and blow up these boats. Are you saying, Professor, that you believe that blowing up these boats because somebody believes it? You know what? Let me do it this way. Let's say they are drug traffickers. Do you believe that it is constitutional for the United States to blow up people that are accused of being drug traffickers?
So it's not going to be a yes or no question. I can take
okay, then I'm gonna stop you there because I only got so much time. And Professor, you know, I was really loving on you because you came from South Texas, which is down in Houston, not too far from the University of Houston, where I got my law degree. But it is very clear that it is unconstitutional for us in the United States. Let me give y'all another issue that I don't understand if y'all see it the way that I do. There's this little thing called the Epstein files. There's a lot of people that have been found liable, charged, all kinds of stuff, from Prince Andrew and Peter Mandelson, from Norwegian officials, the former prime minister, and the former ambassador, all these different people, right? Some would argue, especially since there was international trafficking that was taking place, some would argue that our president, whose name is found over and over and over and over in these files, may have engaged in, say, child trafficking, sex trafficking. They may come to that conclusion. Now, with that being the understanding, if there are other countries that believe, because they believe in actually holding people accountable, okay? So they say, you know what? There were some girls from England or wherever, because there were people from different countries, and they say, you know what, we gonna just come and we're gonna drop in on America. We're going to bomb America. We're going to kill civilians in America because you know what? We have a warrant for his arrest. Whether it's for the child sex trafficking in the Epstein files because America doesn't want to do their job, or whether we're talking about violating international law, whether we're talking about going and just randomly killing people. I can tell you that every single one of you that is sticking up for him right now would be screaming from the rooftops. The analysis has to be the same. I am so offended that I am still paying my daggone student loans for law school, and it seems like none of it matters nowadays. Because seemingly what we do is we twist the law to justify. The analysis is the same. If you would be outraged if they came and bombed our country to go after him to arrest him, if you're listening, that I don't know. I don't know if people are doing this. But if they decided to do that because of the Epstein files or because of violating international law, you all would be against it. So we should be against it right now. Thank you, all you.
Beautifully spoken, beautifully spoken. Yes, definitely hand clap. I have to give a hand clap for that because that was just beautiful. I love when she talks. Yes. She definitely do not play. Yes, definitely. She laid it down. She laid facts. Yes. And no one is seemingly... What is he doing? No one is seemingly taking anything she's saying into consideration and serious consideration. Okay? We need to call this election rigged. Elon Musk needs to work out an agreement or he's going to have us killed. If he gives a damn. Because no one is investigating it. But you know, while we're on the subject of money and things of that nature, let's go look. We need to talk about something else here. Okay, we need to go deep into Trump supporters because that is a thing that's going on right now as well. Because remember, his team is falling by the bulk. They're either resigning or saying they're sick or whatever the case may be. One by one, they're dropping like flies. Literally. Take a look at this.
If you think the price of gas is high now, listen to what Donald Trump's Energy Secretary Chris Wright says when asked if he thinks it will go over $200 per barrel.
And the Iranians are warning of prices hitting $200 a barrel. Mr. Secretary, should Americans be bracing for, should they be worried that this war will actually drive the price of oil above $200 a barrel?
So Iran for 47 years has called the United States the Great Satan. So because they call us the Great Satan, I don't think we are the Great Satan. In fact, clearly we're not. So I don't listen much to Iranian projections of what's going to happen. So that we're going to see some elevated pricing until we get there. Where it's going to go, we have done many, many actions to mitigate that price rise.
And it gets worse. The one country benefiting from all of these sky-high gas prices is Russia. And even Chris Wright struggles to explain it.
The Treasury Department temporarily lifting sanctions on Russian oil this week amid reports that Russia is giving Iran intelligence to target U.S. assets in the region. Why is the United States rewarding Russia?
So this is not rewarding Russia. I understand that it can be seen that way.
How else can it be seen?
All of Russia's
but
oil
Mr. Secretary, how else can it be seen if the U.S. is lifting sanctions on Russia?
Because the oil we're lifting sanction on is already on the water waiting to unload in a Chinese port. But it'll wait there for 6 or 8 weeks. So instead of letting that oil sit there idly, we told the Indians and then the broader nations of Asia, go ahead and buy that oil, bring it into your port now, and keep your refineries running.
And to add insult to injury, Donald Trump is talking trash about President Zelensky from Ukraine.
Mr. Secretary, when I pressed the president on lifting these sanctions on the phone, he told me that Ukrainian President Zelensky is, quote, far more difficult to deal with than Russian President Vladimir Putin. Do you agree with that statement by President Trump?
I have not been involved in the peace negotiations there. All I can say is the president and the administration are deeply committed to trying to find a way to end this over 4-year war. It takes a moderator like the United States and 2 nations to agree. I sure hope we can end that just murderous war it's been going on for over 4 years.
I've been saying this since Donald Trump got reelected. He is the most incompetent and dangerous, corrupt president of our lifetime. And now, MAGA, look at where we're at right now. You can't deny that when you go to the gas station, those numbers aren't real.
The war in Iran is crushing the economy here at home. Working class and middle class Americans are struggling. Today, I read that the price of gas has gone up 27% just in 2 weeks. And every day we're spending $2 billion of American money in Iran. To put that in perspective, for 20 days in Iran, we could have free public college for every American. We could have 1,000 new trade schools. We could have childcare at $10 a day for working class Americans. So today, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse and I are introducing the tax windfall profits for oil companies. They need to be paying a tax, and that money needs to go back in the pockets of ordinary Americans who are struggling at the pump. And instead of putting more money into Iran, we need a Marshall Plan for the United States of America. The Democrats stand for America's economy first, building jobs here, childcare here, healthcare here. Let's focus on our people and our communities instead of draining more money in a war in the Middle East.
Facts. Facts. They're spending all of these billions and billions of dollars on this stupid freaking war, claiming they don't have no money. They didn't have no money for healthcare. They didn't have money for schooling. They didn't have money for this. They didn't have money to fix the roads and things of that nature. But they got all this money to dish out to wars. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I do mean pack all his clothes. Yes, everything, girl. Everything. Shit. They got all this money for the war, but they claim they can't, put no money into school. They don't have enough for the budget, but you got all this money for war. Man, give me a break, man. This is bull crap. This is bull crap. I don't even know what to say about that. This is such bull crap. So today, let's talk about some changes coming to the way banks in the United States handle their finances. Changes that are meant to make the banking system safer for everyone. U.S. bank regulators have just introduced a new set of rules that require large banks to keep more money in reserve. Okay, this is known as capital, and it acts like a financial cushion to help banks absorb losses in tough times. For example, like during an economic recession or a major crisis that we're currently going to go through in a matter of minutes. Okay, seriously, not even days, in a minute. Okay. The new rules are the results of years' debate and have been designed to prevent another banking meltdown, like the one we saw in 2008. So what's changing? Well, banks that are considered systematically important, meaning if they failed, it could hurt the whole economy, will now have to hold more capital than before. The new requirements are stricter and apply to the biggest U.S. financial institutions like JP Morgan Chase, Chase Bank, Bank of America, and Citigroup, as well as some other major foreign banks operating in the U.S. They are aligned to this new deal here. Now, the decision comes after a year of turmoil in the banking sector, including the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank, I remember that, and others. Now, regulators want to make sure banks are prepared for unexpected shocks and that they don't have to turn to taxpayers for bailout. And then people lose their bank accounts because they need to bail out shit. Yeah, we don't want that. So some bankers are in industry groups are worried that these tougher times and tougher rules could hurt profits and make it harder for banks to lend money. If bank suffers, mortgage suffers. It's a domino effect, okay? If the bank that you got your mortgage is bankrupt, there's a potential chance you probably can lose your house, okay, and your bank account. So all your savings, it's just done, it's gone. So if you have $1 million or $300,000 you've been saving all your life, that can be gone if your bank is bankrupt and can't operate anymore. Okay, so yeah, that's where they're trying to make sure it don't happen, because in this particular political climate, we are in risk of that happening. Yes, all of this literally came into fruition within a year of this man's presidency. I want you guys to let that marinate. So, if tougher times continue, especially for things like mortgages or small business loans, but regulators argue that safer banks are better for everyone in the long run, and that the economy will be stronger if banks are less likely to fail. So they're making sure they don't fail, and there's a backup plan. Remember, Obama had to bail out banks when he was president because of the aftermath of when Bush was in the White House and that damn 9/11. Whole nother subject. Anyway, so in summary, these new rules are about making sure America's biggest banks are strong enough to handle this crisis that may be coming, so that your money and the economy stay protected no matter what happens. So they're trying to do a cushion. They're trying to do the same thing for the public system, public schools, and Homeland Security, for TSA and things of that nature. They, all of these places and these businesses that needs to operate. Yes, if the government is shut down, but they should still operate. They're trying to implement some kind of rule and a cushion where they're not included in any shutdown. They can still operate and people can still get paid, because we need these particular businesses. We need the banks. We need the airlines, okay? We need public school systems. We need public transportation. We need all of these things. These things should not be included in the government shutdown. And that's what they're trying to make sure that don't happen, okay? We're trying to make sure they're not affected by the government shutdown. Okay, so U.S. military not preparing for Cuba invasion. Senior U.S. general says. Now, senior U.S. general has stated that the U.S. military is not preparing for an invasion of Cuba, despite what I said yesterday. But, we'll see about that. Now, anyway, despite recent rumors and hiding tensions in the region, the general emphasized that there are no current plans for military action against Cuba, and any suggestions otherwise are unfounded. Now, this reassurance comes as speculation grows to ongoing political and security issues in the area, but U.S. officials maintain their focus is on monitoring the situation rather than escalating it. We'll see about that, because, I'm starting to hear so many goddamn rumors about this Cuba and other crap nonsense, but I have more that I want to talk about when it comes to Cuba and things that's happening in Cuba, because this is some crazy, weird shit going on in Cuba, and we need to talk about this, seriously, so stay tuned for that a little later. Now, over 400 records broken as historic heat wave. So there's been a historical freaking heat wave. It's hot as freaking Satan's panties here, okay? If you believe in whole Satan hell thing. I don't believe in hell. I don't think hell even exists. I'm gonna be real with you. But if you believe in that whole little biblical, what's that Inferno book that's completely fiction? If you believe in that, you probably would believe in that little metaphor and that joke I said, because it's like 90 goddamn degrees. Now, historic heat wave has shattered over 400 temperature records across the United States, with many cities and towns experiencing unprecedented highs. Didn't I tell you that the global crisis was real, and when Trump pretty much ruined or depleted or exit out of that whole little deal we had, in terms of the global climate? Yeah, the Clean Air Act. Remember, it was with UK and other countries and continents, because Biden and Obama was a part of it. He's like, I don't want to be a part of it. He just got rid of it. Yeah, remember I told you this was going to start happening? Well, again, I hate to say it, but I was right again. Now, historical heat wave has shattered over 400 temperature records across the United States, and many cities and towns experience unprecedented highs. This extreme weather event has led to dangerous heat advisory, which means, electric poles can burn up. There can be a lot of, this can be really bad. Strained power grids that can get melted. and increased health risk as well, prompting warnings and emergency measures nationwide. Now, experts they're linking these record-breaking temperatures and ongoing climate change, which we had to deal with other countries, but Trump got rid of that deal. So urging communities to stay safe and prepare for more frequent and severe heat waves in the future. Okay. Now we are entering in the spring era in places that are snowing. Okay. The weather is going to be up and down. It's going to snow. It's going to rain. It's going to snow. It's going to rain. It's going to snow. It's going to rain. That typically happens in areas that get to snow, and areas that don't get snow. Their version of winter is this kind of weather. They get heat waves, and then they get a lot of rain, and then they get cold. They get all 4 seasons. Well, in their case, 3 seasons in 1 month. And places they get winter, get all 4 seasons in 1 month, especially in the month of March. But this is record breaking. It generally don't get this hot in March before spring. It generally just be really cold. It stay like in the 70s, maybe 80s, not even that, primarily the 70s and 60s and lower in California. So because of who, and as who, this is primarily what's happening. Not to mention the record breaking of the ice glaciers up there in North Pole and everything. We're going to probably experience that a lot because there's a record breaking and the climate in terms of what we are seeing today in terms of 4 seasons. I say maybe 50 years, winter would be non-existent. It would become the months that summer is usually are in places that get winter. I give about 50 years or less. Okay. Me too. He is. Now, random news here. This is just random news pertaining and adjacent to what's going on with this unnecessary stupid freaking war. Here we go.
So the price of fish is about to go up thanks to Trump, and Florida fishermen, some who very obviously voted for Trump, are pretty upset about it. The cost of diesel has skyrocketed, and they are having trouble fueling up their boats to go out and fish. And they can only raise prices so much before people stop buying fish. They're pretty upset because he promised them to make America great again, and instead, some of them may have to close their businesses. When Trump tells us that it's a temporary blip, that might be temporary for people like him. All their money is investments. But regular people, that money is just gone. Once you spend it on gas and diesel and fuel, it doesn't come back to you later on. These fishermen say this is not sustainable. They can maybe go out a couple more times paying this kind of rates, but if it continues, they will have to stop fishing or go out of business. And so they will do their best to pass that price on to the consumer. Some of it they will have to just take on themselves. But a lot of these fishermen, they're basically small businesses. And we know that he wants to destroy small businesses in this country, and this is just another way he's doing it. They also talk about the tariffs and how that has affected the fishing industry. He doesn't care about anybody but himself, and this is all his fault.
So this is a really big deal and you need to pay attention to it. Tulsi Gabbard, who is the Director of National Intelligence, had a deputy, the Director of National Counterterrorism, and his name is Joe Kent. Joe Kent is a retired Green Beret combat veteran, former Republican congressional candidate, and a Gold Star husband whose wife was killed fighting ISIS. He is also a full-on MAGA Trumper, red hat wearing, white nationalist Republican superboy. And he has just resigned from his job in protest of the Iran war. He writes in his resignation letter to the president, "After much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." This is a man that Donald Trump endorsed, embraced, hired for national intelligence senior position, who has insider knowledge of this conflict, and until today, blind loyalty to the administration coming out and saying, "This is wrong, and I cannot participate." The White House press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, responded by saying Joe Kent was lying, that this idea that Iran posed no imminent threat was a lie. that the president has explicitly stated he had strong and compelling evidence that Iran was going to attack the United States. It's just that no one has seen it. And here is Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center and right-wing zealot, saying, no, they didn't. This isn't the Democrats or the left-wing media. This isn't a pro-Iran mouthpiece. This is an absolute MAGA insider. And the fact that he is turning on his own people is so telling. And the more they go after him, the more I hope he will reveal. Now, I'm not here to support Joe Kent. I actively worked against him when he ran for office because he is a white nationalist, far-right, anti-Semitic MAGA creep. But what he has done here is brave. This is a man who knows where the bodies are buried, and he is coming out against his own party on behalf of our country. And I can only hope that more people will follow his lead.
A Democratic representative just went out on the House floor and showed the unredacted version of a file that the Department of Justice had released to the public as redacted. And to absolutely no one's surprise, something that most of us already knew, he never kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. The file itself was a transcript of an interview where Trump's attorney and Epstein's attorney were both present, or more specifically, a conversation between the two of them where Trump was present answering questions. Question 1, was Jeffrey Epstein ever expelled from Mar-a-Lago? No, he was not a member, may have been a guest, never asked to leave. Question 2, asking if Trump was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, to which he said that he may have been on his plane, even though we've all seen the flight logs with his name on it. Another one of the questions, was Trump ever at Jeffrey Epstein's house? Easy yes, but he said he may have been there with his wife. But also at the end, the manager of Mar-a-Lago confirms that Epstein was never kicked out. Even though this just reveals a lot of things we already know, this is a very, very significant document. Because why was it redacted? There's no victim's names. It's just Trump's name. And it wasn't just part of it that was redacted. It was a huge block over the whole interview. It just proves that the DOJ is redacting things other than victim information. Again, something we already knew, but it proves it right there. And of course, it begs the question, what else are they covering up? And these are all questions that Pam Bondi will have to answer to, because the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed her to appear for a deposition on April 14th. So they will hopefully be grilling her on these questions, because by now Congress has seen the unredacted files. They can go forward by asking why all of this stuff wasn't released to the public, when all it does is just hide Trump's name. I don't expect anything less than what happened last time with her outrageously bad performance and her just lying under oath the whole time. But at least they'll have her on record, and it's nice to see them putting more pressure on the DOJ and the Trump administration about stuff like this, because as much as he wants it swept under the rug, that's not going to happen.
With that said, and she is right. Now that we're on the topic and subject about Epstein files, let's dive deep into the woman who is behind covering it up. I mean, speaking of criminals and teams, Pam Bondi is up to her usual ways, and I'm going to dissect her like a pro. We are going to the lab, people. We are going to the library. We are going to the board. And when I say I'm going deep, I'm going deep. Okay? I am going deep. I may not have a psychology degree, but I definitely took classes and I read a lot of goddamn books. I should just go ahead and get my damn degree. But I'm just going to go ahead and just say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are going into the Pam Bondi book. This is the part you really should be paying attention to, because I watched today, and you need to pay attention. This is serious. This is our lives. This is not bull crap. So if you're on other channels or doing other things, you need to be paying attention to this. Not the celebrity gibble gaggle complaining that they're doing in their stupid channels and they're streaming. No. This is some education stuff right here. This is serious. This is not, I'm trying to get hits and talk shit about Trump. No, I'm trying to educate you guys. I'm doing this for free. They're doing this for thousands and thousands and millions of dollars. I'm doing this shit for free, which means I'm doing it because I literally care. Not just for the dollar. Now, because I watched today wasn't just about politics, okay? This time isn't just about politics. It was her performance. We're talking about Pam Bondi throughout all of these interrogations that she has been under. Okay. It was a whole emotional pattern playing out in real time. Pam Bondi didn't show up with facts as usual. She showed up with tactics. And her tactics, which I said on my last live show, was divert, bait. But I'm adding one thing else to this whole tactic of hers. Divert, bait, and deflect. That's what she does. Divert, bait, and deflect. And you're going to see how she does it, and you're going to learn for yourself how to shut it down. And I hope the senators and whoever are watching my video, because this can definitely help them as well in the upcoming interrogations and cross-examinations they're going to have with her. And baby, I saw every move. Now, this, you got to understand when it comes to Pam Bondi, this wasn't about loyalty to a party or to whoever. This was an emotional over-identification. This was someone protecting a man the way a daughter protects her father. She's not doing this out of pure loyalty for her job. She's doing this like a daughter protects her father. And I'm not diagnosing her because I'm not a psychologist. I'm reading a pattern because the behavior was loud. So tonight I'm breaking down exactly what she did, why she did it, and how you can shut it down, and how you can do this to someone who plays these kind of games. So with that said, let's go deep. Okay. We're going to start with her strategy. So let's talk about the first part of her strategy, which is her diverting. Okay. She changes the subject. This is what Pam Bondi did. When she's asked a question. I can't either. And thank you. Okay. Now, this is what Pam Bondi do. Okay. When she's asked a question, she changes the subject the moment the question gets too close to the truth, or she just don't want to answer it. She creates a side conversation to avoid the real one. And then she hooks the bait. Then she hooks the bait. When she's cornered, you see, she throws emotional bait, accusations, insults, tone shifts. How dare you say this about so-and-so, so-and-so? Fake outrage. She don't give a shit because after she says she's completely calm, and half of the time she's actually laughing and smiling. This is a game for her, okay? So she divert, and then she bait. She wants you to react so she doesn't have to answer. Time is ticking, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. While you doing this little tug of war with her game strategy, you about to be out of time. Because she wants you to react so she doesn't have to answer. So then she triggers deflection. She flips the focus onto the questionnaire. Okay? Suddenly you are the problem, not the facts, not the redactions, not the inconsistencies, you see. You're the problem. Okay? You're the problem. You completely forgot what the hell you asked her because she already diverted the freaking thing. She baited you with unnecessary topics. She deflected her ass off, and she accusing you what she diverted you with and baited you with. You're not even talking about the initial problem at all. You're trying to defend yourself. Your time is up. She has won. Checkmate. Literally. Now, digging deeper on her connection and her weird loyalty when it comes to Donald Trump. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I can't diagnose this, but I can speak to the emotional pattern I saw because I am a professional behavior analysis, okay? The way she defends Donald Trump is far past loyalty and far past job description. She wasn't defending a political figure. She was defending him like a daughter defending her father. This wasn't strategy. This was some kind of emotional attachment. I mean, look how she gets offended when someone talks about Donald Trump. Take a look at her responses when how she felt, the way she said it. You talking about Trump is an insult to her. Who cares if he molested her or raped millions of people? She don't care. This is some deep psychological issue that she probably had with her father. And Trump offered her some kind of love or attention, and one heck of a goddamn job, the most powerful job in the United States. So she forgot all about all the abuse that he caused several people and her. And now she sees him like, oh, I forgive you, Father. I will stand by your side no matter what. Take a look at these clips. I want you guys to pay attention on how she responds. Now remember, what are the 3 steps again? Divert, bait, deflect. Divert, bait, and deflect. Okay? Pay attention.
There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency.
I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell. So should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing.
You heard what she said? She's like, don't you ever accuse me of a crime. She wasn't even listening to what he was saying. Now, earlier, and this entire cross-examination here, they were arguing back and forth. She was deflecting. She was baiting, the whole 9 yards. He stayed on course. But there was still the strategy. He lingered off course, but there still was strategy. Now, listen to this one. Or look at this one, rather.
You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, all the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million. And Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
You guys see what I'm saying now? And you can go on TikTok, you can go on YouTube, you can look at all the clips. You literally just saw her divert the entire questions into something that had nothing to do while they were there. She just diverted the entire thing, wasting people fucking time. Literally, that's what the hell she did. Wasting people freaking time. Now, in this next book, I want you guys to pay attention to this as well. You saw her in there diverting the conversation, baiting him getting them into the conversation and a topic that had nothing to do why they were there. So now they said, okay, why are you talking about the Dow and everything? Because she's just wasting time. That's what she do. She divert, bait, and deflect, and take up for her father, because she considers Trump her father. So here's the question: why these tactics work on most people? Well, here's the psychology of this tactic. You see, diversion works because people chase the new topic, as you just saw in that clip. Most folks get pulled off their own question because they began to focus on her question. And this is why. She started talking about the Dow and random subjects. She was just throwing subjects at the wall to see which one would stick. Apparently the Dow sticks, so they start questioning the Dow. Okay. Her strategy worked. That was her goal all along. Just throwing subjects to see what the fuck would stick. She was diverting the subject, diverting this entire hearing. Okay. And then that was debate. Debate works because people get emotional. They get angry. Why isn't she answering the question? If you react, that means she won. She won. Okay. That happened with the last hearing that she did in the oversight hearing. And then the deflection works because it confuses the room. Like, and you just heard her say why people are asking about the Dow. Suddenly the issue is lost in the noise. Like, why are we talking about this? It worked. So emotional over-identification works because it looks like conviction. People confuse emotional intensity with truth. Okay? You see, you have to cross-examine her like Jasmine Crockett. Only one person other than that Asian guy got through to her. Okay? Even though they were arguing, the whole cross-examination with the Asian guy, they was literally arguing at some point. Seriously, she was over talking him. It was really bad at some point. Now, but there was only person who managed to seriously get her to answer all the questions. This is how you handle someone like Pam Bondi with her 3-part tactic: divert, bait, and deflect tactic. Okay? I'm gonna break it down. This is what Jasmine Crockett did. This is how Jasmine Crockett broke the pattern. You see, Jasmine Crockett, she stayed on a question. She didn't chase. She didn't detour. Okay? She didn't go feeding into her whatever. And she was serious. So her intimidation came forth like, don't play those games like you did with everyone else, not to mention her reputation. Okay, so this lady was like, I know Jasmine Crockett. I seen her on TV. I don't want to go there with her. But she didn't go there with her. Okay? So Pam Bondi didn't take the bait. She didn't react emotionally at first. Okay? And Pam Bondi, she used short, sharp questions like yes or no. Questions that can't be escaped. She named the behavior. You're not answering the question, or yes or no. You know, questions like that. Naming the behavior. Like, you're not answering the question. You diverting. You're deflecting. Whatever. Yes or no. She kept her calm. She kept her tone calm trend throughout the entire questioning. Okay? Calm is dominance. When you're calm, you become intimidated. When you don't react emotionally to her and get all upset, you make her nervous. She run out of strategy. She becomes silent because what I'm doing is not affecting her. I don't know what to do. Okay? So she held the line. Jasmine held the line until the clock ran out. Now, Bondi didn't escape. The timer saved her because if Jasmine had 30 seconds more, the whole room would have shifted because she would have snapped at her with some reality and truth. That would have shut Pam Bondi down. But the clock ran out and Pam Bondi decided to hit her at the last minute with some accusation. That was her baiting Jasmine Crockett. After Jasmine Crockett run this cross-examination. And then she decided at the end to hit her with it. Now, most video clips does not have that, but you can find it on YouTube, TikTok, whole cross-examination with Jasmine Crockett. Most clips do not have that at the end. But I do have a clip, and I want you to pay attention how Jasmine Crockett was able to deal with Pam Bondi. This is what the other future senators, congressmen, whoever, in the future, this is how you deal with someone like Pam Bondi.
The gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
Hold on, just a moment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, raping children.
Wrong.
Right or wrong, killing random citizens.
Definitely wrong.
Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States.
Definitely wrong.
Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massie, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. My Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on. And frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, of this particular witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested,
that is the video. I don't know why the video isn't playing, but that's the video.
this particular,
Yeah, that's the video. The video, just the sound went out on the video. Not my end. It was the sound that went out on the video. But I'll leave the link below. You guys can watch the entire video. The point of the matter is you see how she answered and how Jasmine Crock was able to cross-examine her without falling for divert, bait, and, deflect tactic, okay? But at the end, Pam Bondi, decided to go at her, and I'm telling you, Jasmine Crockett had 30 more seconds, she would have read her a new asshole. I mean, but her time was up, and that was pretty much it. I know they rigged the election. They rigged that election. I have to say that because no one even knew who the hell that guy was. I didn't even know who he was until he ran against Jasmine. You said when Iran folds, meaning Trump won the war, this channel must go silent. Oh, look at you. Okay, we have a hater here. He might be the hacker. Y'all need to screenshot this, seriously. Must go silent, absolute shame over what they claim about the situation. There's no middle ground. If Iran loses, the channel is trash. Oh, wow. Anyway. Yes. Yes, she went in, definitely. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, now that I educate you guys on something, and I hate the fact that she was all cavalier and smiling, Pam Bondi is really feeling herself. She has literally just think her shit do not stink. She's the baddest bitch in the game. She is feeling herself. Someone need to knock her little arrogant ass down a peg or two. I'm going to go ahead and put that crap on out here. And let me just say this. This is how you handle someone like Pam Bondi, okay? Let me tell you, pay attention to this part. This is important. It's going to really help you in the future because there's going to be a lot of Pam Bondis out there in the world, okay? Because by the end of this, you will know how to deal with Pam Bondis. So let me just say this. With that said, first of all, don't ever chase the diversion. Don't ever chase it. Say, that's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. And say it very calmly, just like I just said. That's not what I asked. Second, don't defend yourself. Say, I'm not discussing that. My question was so-and-so, so-and-so. Can you please answer? And say it calmly. And look her right in the eyes. I'm not discussing that. My question was so-and-so, so-and-so. Can you please answer? Okay? And then third, keep your questions short. Short questions trap deflectors. Just like you saw Jasmine Crockett, like, did you, yes or no? Is that correct? Or something along those lines. Quick, easy. Don't give them time to give you a long answer. You give them a really hard question, they give you a long answer and start baiting you into arguing again. Okay? And then you want to use the broken record technique, such as repeat the same question calmly. I ask you, were you in charge of redacting the Epstein files? Yes or no? Were you in charge of redacting the Epstein files? Yes or no? Keep asking this calmly. Please answer the question. Were you in charge of doing this? Yes or no? She's going to try to go off subject. We're not talking about that right now because she's going to try baiting you, throwing whatever's at the wall. See which one sticks. It's like she did before. And everyone's stuck on the dial. Yeah. So repeat the same question calmly. Don't even get upset. Matter of fact, just find her little tactics amusing. And then you want to name the tactic. Like you're avoiding your question. You're shifting the topic. Answer the question. Were you in charge of redacting Epstein files? Yes or no? Stop avoiding the question. You're shifting the topic, Pam Bondi. Answer the question, please. And keep calm. Stay calm throughout this entire thing. Calm exposes their manipulation because she's going to try baiting you. She's going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Just whatever she can throw to get a reaction out of you. And the more desperate she gets, the more evil and cruel she's going to get. Do not fold, okay? Because she would definitely try. Respond to the words with no emotions. Now, to end the questioning, don't take any bait or any rebuttal. Just smile at her because she's going to try to do the same thing she did with Jasmine Crockett, bringing up her record or whatever, okay? To end the question, don't take any bait or any rebuttal. Just smile and look her in the eye, stoically, seriously, and don't say anything. Let the person make a complete fool out of themselves. Just sit back and say, okay, my time is up. I yield, or whatever the hell they freaking supposed to say, and just let her talk. Let the person and let her make a complete fool out of herself. Just sit back and don't say anything. Because these kind of people love an argument and reaction. If there aren't any reactions, they fail and they fall apart. And you can sit back and look at them fall apart because they're like, what I'm doing is not even responding. They're not responding. They're not, what the hell? Are you hearing me? This is bullshit. And you will see her fall apart. It's quite amusing. I've done it. It's hilarious. So don't take the bait because she's definitely going to try to do it. Okay. Now, and this particular part here, because I know a lot of people are saying, okay, what about her? Can she be impeached? This has been a subject that's been coming up several times. Can she be impeached? Can she be impeached? Yada, 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 yada. But let me just, go back a little bit here. Okay. Now, remember, I'm not diagnosing Pam Bondi. I'm just reading her pattern. And the pattern I saw was in political loyalty. It was emotional loyalty. Her loyalty toward Trump. It was protective. It was reactive. It was personal. She's not doing it because of her job. She's doing it because she see him as a father. It had the energy of a daughter defending a father figure. This is where she at the moment. It's not about her job. She defended him like a father figure. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what you're going to have to hit her. She's not being professional. That's blatantly obvious. She's doing it because she see him as her father. She got some serious father issues. Seriously. So the question is that everybody's wondering. That everyone is wondering. Just to make sure there's another thing here. Could she be impeached? Yes, Pam Bondi can be impeached, and she can be impeached without Donald Trump's approval. The president has no role in approving, blocking, authorizing impeachment proceedings. He has no way of blocking that. He can try, but he can't. But here's where I have to say this, and I know this is going to probably break a lot of your hearts, whoever listening. The political math behind impeaching Pam Bondi is just not possible. See, impeachment is a numbers game, not the emotional one that I just pretty much said throughout this entire live show and pertaining to Pam Bondi. So I'm going to break down the math step by step. And this is what you should pay attention to. And the MAGA people probably love this part. Okay, first, the House Judiciary Committee, which is the first gate. Okay, they have to advance the impeachment articles. The committee needs a simple majority. Now, the committee is a Republican control. Remember, they control the House and they control the Senate. Okay, it goes to the House and it goes to the Senate. The committee is Republican control. They control the House and the Senate. Republicans have shown no appetite for impeaching Trump Attorney General. They actually like the fact that she like this. They smile. They probably get a fucking erection looking at her acting like this shit. They think she's doing a beautiful job, and I've said it. Okay? And they give a damn about them Epstein files. Okay? So even Democrats pushing impeachment acknowledgement, it's a long shot. Probably a clearing committee very low, which means it's not going to get very far. And you need a full House vote too. If the articles did make it out of the committee, the full House would need a simple majority to impeach. The House is closely divided, but Republicans hold the advantage, unfortunately, for now. The GOP members have largely defended Bondi. They didn't criticize her, and they have no plans of impeaching her at all or pushing for impeachment. This is what the Republicans are saying. So even some Democrats have been cautious, calling it symbolic rather than viable. So that tells you the Republican Party don't care about the Epstein files or rape victims or anything of the nature. They just don't care. It's not there on the list of importance. They don't give a shit. Okay? So the probability of the House impeaching her is definitely low as well. And then you get to the Senate. If the House impeach her, the Senate needs a 2/3 vote to remove her. Again, the Senate is Republican control, and they have shown no, they don't show any defensive or any rebuttal or any change or anything, even with the Iran war and all the illegal shit that Trump has been doing and getting impeached and treason and in jail or worse even. They have not even budged. They literally sitting back collecting money. And from what I hear, they spending the taxpayers' money because that was one of the deals that Trump gave them allegedly. And they are just laying low. They don't give a shit. So that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. So 2/3 is an extremely high bar, historically almost impossible without a Bartism outrage, which we don't see them even saying that they even care. So there is no sign of Republican support for removing Bondi. She knows this too. So that's why she's arrogant and doing what she wants, because she knows she can't be impeached. And here's why she acts so arrogant, cocky. Here's why she feels that her job is so fucking solid. It's almost if it's branded to her ass. This is why she acts like this. Because there's no sign of Republicans supporting removing Bondi. They think she's doing a great job. Seriously. So the probability of Senate conviction is effectively 0. So here's another question. It gets really deep. So why is impeachment even being discussed? Why is it even being discussed? Why are we even talking about it? Like, why is this even a conversation? Well, because Bondi handling of the Epstein files has triggered public backlash. Okay. Her combative testimony created partisan frustration, even among some Republicans, but they're still not saying shit or doing anything about it because they don't have no morals, integrity. They're probably getting paid, or they probably got stuff they're hiding themselves. So Democrats want to signal accountability, even if the math isn't there, but it is there, and it's something we can't ignore. This is why Axios called the impeachment effort an extreme long shot. Like, it's a long shot, and she knows this. This is why she just does what she wants, because she knows no one can do a damn thing about it. Literally. With this war, we're hoping that it get solved quickly, but Trump starting this war, really got to hope that it doesn't keep his job and he starts some other tactic to make sure he does not get impeached. But we removed people from office. We still held elections in the middle of wars before. This is not a first. So let me just say this. The bottom line here. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that. Because the show is coming to an end here. The bottom line here. Could Congress impeach her? Yes. Will Congress impeach her? The numbers say no, not with the current political alignment here. Now, the effort is more pressure, messaging, and accountability than a realistic path to removal. Best case scenarios will be congressional oversight. So this is what they can do. They can issue subpoenas, hold hearings, demand documents, force testimony, refer contempt charges, especially because she committed a lot of, perjury, cover up, and I mean, I can name a gazillion of them. I mean, she did break the law. So they can refer contempt charge, expose misconduct publicly. Oversight is not an option, not optional, but she can't resist it, but she can't stop it. She can say, I'm not going to do it, but she can't stop it if they wish to issue subpoenas, hold hearings, demand documents, force testimony, refer contempt charge, like she contempt of court and shit like that. That stuff she can't resist, and she can't stop it either. So every refusal from Pam Bondi, who thinks she's invincible, and currently she is at the moment, every refusal becomes evidence. Then courts can force compliance. If she ignores subpoenas or refuses to release documents, Congress can take the DOJ to court. Now, this is when the federal judges can come into play, and that's something she don't want to fuck with. Federal judges, you don't want to fuck with, okay? Because they can go with compliance, production of orders, and enforce these subpoenas that she's going to try to seriously bail out of. And the courts don't care about political alliances. Now, this is pretty much the most powerful accountability tool outside impeachment they probably have a long shot of doing, unless Republicans all of a sudden have some morals and some integrity, and they actually care about someone other than themselves, which I don't see happening anytime soon. Now, she once again acts like some mob boss, like she's been acting, and the mob boss's daughter, so to speak. The inspectors, okay? There is inspectors generals who investigate internally, and the DOJ inspector is independent. They don't work for a corporation. They don't work for Trump. They are independent. And here's what the DOJ inspector general can do. They investigate misconduct, audit decisions, review redactions, examine whether laws were followed, publish public reports. So any reports that she tried to hide, they can publicize it for everyone to see. Now, when Inspector Attorney General comes into play, this is where people start getting nervous. Even her, even she can't dodge and bail and talk her way out with the 3-point tactic, divert, bait and deflect bullshit. Even she can't do that. When the Inspector General comes into play, the shit just got real. Because this is a major pressure point. Well, I'm not done yet. Because usually when it gets deep like this, whistleblowers will start to come forward because they don't want to get fucked up by the Inspector General, because he's prone to anything. They go in with a fresh eye like a freaking detective who's investigating a murder case. They're looking at every goddamn thing. They're looking at patterns. They're looking at history logs. They're looking at what's going on here. They're looking at her financial record. They're looking at everyone who's adjacent to her job, who ever came in contact with her. They are going through their financial records at some point. They're going through cameras. Okay. Oh, yes. Now, if they're not going to come forward and say what they done, they're going to go to jail. Okay. Now, this is when whistleblowers will start coming forward because they don't want the Inspector General to find anything. Okay. Because the Inspector General will find laws that were broken, victims were ignored, files was mishandled, political interference occurred, and they can legally report and hold her accountable. Now, whistleblowers, they can protect themselves, and their protections are strong. Like, if I tell you this, can you give me immunity? Can you do this? Can I still keep my job? Can I still keep my title? I mean, can we work out something if I tell you what she did? Because once the Inspector General gather all this evidence, okay, that's when Congress takes disclosure seriously, and that's when you can remove her. But that's the long way around. Now, this is how many major scandals break open. But by the time the Inspector General come and he start publicizing everything that he found in Pam Bondi, and she can't bail her way out of this or divert and bait and deflect her ass out of this, generally these people in these high power positions just resign. They resign at this point because they don't want to deal with the public embarrassment. Okay? So this is basically how major scandals are broken. This is when the civil lawsuits can force or disclose all of these really, really bad things that these people in power have done. And victims and journalists and advocacy groups can sue for, because once it becomes public knowledge, which the Inspector General have every legal right to do, records become transparency. Wrongful redactions become transparency. Mishandling evidence become transparency for everyone to scrutinize all over the world. Everyone gets to see the shit. No one wants the Inspector General to come into play. Now, courts can order the DOJ to release information even if the leadership resists, like she's still resisting. Courts can still do it because now it's public knowledge. There's no way of dodging it. We have the evidence. You either do it or you can go to jail. Now, this has already happened in other high-profile cases. And trust me, public pressure changes political behavior. This is something she don't want to get this far. Right now, she's saved. Even when someone is insulated or she feels isolated, she feels like she's protected. Public outrage, forced hearings, forced transparency, forced cooperation, and again, forced resignations, forced Congress to act. So when the Inspector General comes into play, I guarantee you she's going to resign before that shit happens. She's going to resign. Her little mob boss daughter crap that she got going on here, she is not going to be able to handle the transparency the Inspector General is going to display and put on public scrutiny for the whole world to scrutinize. I guarantee she will say, I quit. We'll see a resignation later on in this whole investigating process. Okay? Not even, I don't care who you are, okay? So this woman who thinks that she's the mob boss's daughter and her shit don't stink and she's protected by the House and the Senate, which she is currently, which is why she's acting cocky and arrogant. So yes, Pam may think she may not get impeached because she holds the Senate by the balls, literally in the numbers. But if balance of power shift, impeachment becomes possible, oversight becomes stronger, subpoenas becomes enforceable, leadership changes, priorities change. The system may move slowly, but it does move. And I guarantee she'll resign before it gets that deep. And I have a feeling the Republicans going to have a long haul. If they can't impeach her, if Republican Party don't grow some conscience and stop acting like bitches, I guarantee you the Democrats are going to go through the oversight and they're going to do everything I just said. I guarantee you. Watch. And by the time it reaches to the Inspector General, she is going to resign. Watch. If I was her, I'd resign before the Inspector General even come into play. I wouldn't even deal with the scrutiny and the public embarrassment that would be exposed. That's unless they get a shady ass Inspector General who's just going to be shady as fuck. You know what I'm saying? But even he can be called out, or she. Just saying. So that's pretty much what's going to happen in the near future. So let me just recap and let's be clear. When someone diverts, baits, and deflects, it's because the truth is too heavy for them to carry. And when they stay grounded, calm, and focused, you expose everything that they're trying to hide. And remember, hope doesn't come from the people in power. Hope comes from pressure, exposure, and time. And those three things are still moving, even when impeachment isn't. So good night, my truth seekers, and I'm out.
We see you, we see you, we remember, we remember. I am the storm, I am the storm, I am the silence, I am the silence, I am the truth unveiled, I am the truth unveiled.
Yourself, yourself.